All right, guys, let's do a check here. I'm driving, and I want to make sure that I get in saying everything that I need to say here based on that last video on this channel about the hashtag Trump Rally Dallas. So give me a thumbs up if you can see me. I don't have my glasses on, but I'll be able to see a thumbs up. If you guys can hear me, let me know. I'll wait. Let's see, somebody said, hey, give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? Do I have a good connection? I'm not sure. I want to maximize our time together. I don't want to waste your time with anything here. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I struggle in this life with, coming to the reality and realization of the truth, waking up to things that you were asleep to. Yeah, of course, it's understood that nobody is perfect. Nobody has arrived at the destination of 100% freedom. Nobody has. Probably never will. But I think it was Samuel Adams who said, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. And that's kind of the standard. That's kind of what moral people do. When evil things are happening around you, you don't participate with them. You don't invite them into your house. You don't do what they do. You don't befriend them. You resist it. You resist evil and you resist evil people. You don't participate in the process. How is that? How is your world and my world going to get any better if we consistently submit to and compromise with evil? We know evil is all around us. We know what it looks like. And essentially, when you boil it all down, evil takes the shape of a violation of the golden rule. I mean, yeah, people can say all day long, well, you sound like a broken record. What are your solutions? What are your solutions? Guys, the solution is to resist evil. If you do that, the game is won. The battle is won. The war is won. If not in other places, at least in your own house. Maybe you don't have a house. Maybe you live under a bridge. Maybe you live in your car. At least with you. At least if you just say, okay, maybe there's evil out there. Yeah, I know. I recognize it. I see it. It's happening all the time. People do evil things to other people, and it's not right. But you know what? It's going to stop with me. It's like beyond my walls, it may be happening, but within my walls, it ain't going to happen. So when I do videos like I did, about Trump, it doesn't matter to me about the downvotes. What really matters to me is, am I in error? Have I transgressed the non-aggression principle? Have I transgressed the golden rule in saying what I said? Have I made an accusation that wasn't substantiated? Have I made a comment that has no backing? Accusation without substantiation is the height of ignorance. I can't stand when people, say that you're something that you're not, or claim that you did something that you didn't do. And the only reason that's wrong is because you wouldn't want that done to you. And if you wouldn't want it done to you, then you don't need to do it to somebody else. So when I see oceans and oceans of people at a Trump rally and everybody's just all taking comfort in the majority, guys, if you find yourself on the side of the majority, you need to pause and reflect. Because we know from history, true history I'm talking about, when you have a majority on one side, usually the majority is dead wrong. And it ends in the death, the destruction of a whole lot of people. It crumbles economies. To be on the side of the majority is easy, guys. It's like I always liken it to being in a canoe, in a river. If you want to make it up the river, you got to put your oars, you can't just put your oars in the water, you got to paddle feverishly. The moment you take your oars out of the water, you will start to go backwards. It's easy, but it's easy. It's inviting. It's attractive to take your oars out of the water. And that's what politicians and bankers capitalize on. They capitalize on and depend on the fact that you want to take the easy easy road. So voting for the lesser of two evils, even though it's still evil, it's easy. It puts something into somebody's mind that's, oh, I did something right today. I did something good. I chose the lesser of two evils. Well, guess what? You still did evil. You still consented to and condoned and supported evil. And so people are like, you're totally wrong about Trump. He's not a politician. Oh, if he's not a politician, why does he have the highest political mechanic shop? Well, the guy that's working on your car is not really a mechanic. Well, why did he apply here? Why did he apply to a mechanic shop if he's not a mechanic? Why did Trump apply for the position of president of the United States if he's not a politician? Well, you don't understand. He's a businessman. He wasn't in the inner circles in Washington, D.C. He's not a politician. Well, he's a politician now. And besides that, okay, let's call him he's still a businessman. And I can I could go list after list after list that will be identical to the list of Obama as far as transgressing the Golden Rule, specifically transgressing the Bill of Rights. Just list after list after list. But that's not even necessary. I've done it in many, many videos before. If you just took one thing, if he's against truth and freedom and justice, unjust, one thing, and honesty, if just on one thing, using his political office and his political might, he is the leader of the free world. If it was just one thing, that's all you need to know, he is completely out to lunch. Let's just pick one thing. Steve Mnuchin, head of the Treasury. He's the Treasury Secretary. Steve Mnuchin. How is that consistent with draining the swamp? How is filling the swamp with one of the most grotesque Zionist banking, Goldman Sachs insider swamp things consistent with draining the swamp? You tell me. The burden of proof is on you. It's not on me. Oh, Brian's all goody two-shoes. We need to, I was reading some of the comments. Hashtag purity. Hashtag follow Brian. I'm not asking, I don't want people to follow me. You know what you should follow? Truth, logic, justice. Don't follow your emotions. It will always steer you wrong 100% of the time. Don't follow a man. It will steer you wrong 100% of the time, to the point where 900 people go to Guyana and follow some guy named Jim Jones and drink cyanide-laced Kool-Aid and all die. That's how, and don't think for a second that you or me are immune from checking into the cult of personality. I am just as weak as you are. You're just as weak as I am. The only reason who knows why we're awake? I could be a Nancy Pelosi worshiper right now. I don't know why I'm not. I could be a bootlicking Chuck Schumer follower, but I'm not. I don't know why I'm not. I'm not special. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about you. Maybe I've attained a level of wokeness, but I'm not all the way there. I haven't arrived. I've never thought I've arrived. What bothers me about the dislikes is that it reveals the character of people. If you gave me a dislike because I'm wrong about something, if you gave me a dislike because I said something that was completely, utterly in error and antithetical to freedom, I would totally understand. Then lay out the specifics. Lay out the specifics. But if Trump did one thing that was wrong, and that's hire a Goldman Sachs banking Zionist insider to oversee the Treasury of the United States of America, which, by the way, that's a federal corporation, but that's an issue I'll get into in a second. If that was the only thing Trump did, number one, it is grossly inconsistent with draining the swamp. You've actually filled the swamp. It's almost like, let's say my girlfriend wants to take a bath. Baby, could you fill up the bathtub? Sure. And I pooped and peed in the toilet, and I'm filling it up for you. Filling it up with sewer water. Well, that's not exactly what I meant by filling up the bathtub. And that's, I'm sure, not exactly what you guys were talking about draining the swamp. You're not draining the swamp when you put the Fox in control of the hen house. And Steve Mnuchin is a Fox Zionist insider. You might as well have Israel at the control panel of America. And this isn't a country anymore. It's a Title 28, Section 3002, 15A federal corporation. That means any politician or whatever you want to call it, any person who seeks a high political office in this land is applying for the position of a corporate employee. I don't care if you're talking about a senator. I don't care if you're talking about a congressman. I don't care if you're talking about the little minions that work for the senators and congressmen. I don't care if you're talking about the president of the United States or the vice president or the speaker of the House or any of these schmucks. They are literally corporate employees looking out for the Title 28, Section 3002, 15A federal corporation, not looking out for your interest. That automatically makes them your enemy. It's like this. Okay, if you guys are at all familiar with the work of Andrew Jackson, literally one of the last things that he said when he died, reportedly, was, "I killed the banks." He was vehemently against the banks, vehemently, because he knew that as soon as the bankers took control of America, they had everybody by the freaking balls. And as George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Andrew Jackson spent his life fighting against the banks. If he woke up today, if somehow he resurrected from the grave and somehow by miracle he got put behind the Oval Office desk at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and somebody gave him a smelling salt and he woke up and he looked around, he would look over and go, "Hey, advisors, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? What are you talking about, Andrew? That right there, what is that?" "Oh, that's the Federal Reserve." "What's the Federal Reserve? What do you mean it's the Federal Reserve? What do they have control of?" "Just the entire monetary system." "What the hell are you talking? What is that? What's that over there?" "What, you mean the IRS?" "IRS? What is IRS? Come on, get me up to speed." "The Internal Revenue Service?" "Internal Revenue Service. Okay, what do? Well, basically, they just force people to give a portion of their income. Against their will?" Yeah. What happens if they don't pay?" "Well, then armed enforcers come to their house and they throw them into a cage." We have the Federal Reserve is in control of the entire monetary system. Yep, that's right. The IRS is in control of making people comply and obey and give them a portion of their hard-earned income. Yeah. I'm the president of the United States, right? Yeah. Do I have any command of any armed forces? Yeah, the entire military. Okay. What's that thing on my desk? That's a phone. Okay, I need you to, can you call somebody? I don't know how it's going to work, but yeah, I need about 50,000. I'll make it 100,000 troops. We're marching on the Federal Reserve and we're marching on the IRS and we're going to release the shackles off of the wrists and the ankles of my people. If I'm the president of the United States, they're my people. So I'm going to assume the position of the president. We got to get rid of that domestic terrorist threat and we got to get rid of that domestic terrorist threat. Guys, anything else is window dressing. Nancy Pelosi can go crazy all she wants. They can talk about impeachment all they want. It's window dressing. The lights are on and nobody's home. If you're not dealing with the Federal Reserve, Steve Mnuchin, Mike Pompeo, yeah, he got rid of Bolton, but it's all smoke and mirrors. You got the IRS, you're not going to say anything about it. You're going to constantly land at the free home of the brave. Andrew Jackson, there's no way, and I'm not saying Andrew Jackson was perfect by any means, but he understood the gross error that America would make if they went down the road of having a fiat currency Ponzi scheme. Oh, I didn't tell you the Federal Reserve's really they're not over any kind of notes of any kind of value. They're not, it's not gold-backed certificates. What do you mean? What is it? It's kind of like, I don't know, how do you put it? It's just fiat currency. A dishonest money system. They're ruling over America with a dishonest money system. They hold the purse strings. Okay, wait a second. Is there a national debt? Is there a debt at all on the people? Well, yeah. How much is it? It's, $22 trillion. 22 what? 22 trillion. Yeah, and we haven't even counted unfunded liabilities of Social Security and Medicare. That shoots it up to about 120 to 150 trillion. What the hell has been going on in the last 170 years since I've been dead? Anything else Trump could talk about, is absolute window dressing. If by tomorrow morning he doesn't wake up and say, we got to get rid of the Federal Reserve and we've got to get rid of the IRS. And by the way, we're going to deal with the military industrial complex that Eisenhower warned us about. So I've already listed 4 freaking things. And take some smelling salts, guys. I don't care how many red hat Trump supporters are in that American Airlines Auditorium Coliseum, whatever you call it, in Dallas. I don't care if you get 99.9% of Americans on board with Trump. He is leading the country down to hell if he doesn't take care of the Federal Reserve and the IRS and get rid of Steve Mnuchin and get rid of warmongering Mike Pompeo and put the thought out of his mind about a federal police force and civil asset forfeiture, ending the drug war, getting rid of the prison industrial complex. Shall I go on? Shall I go on? Now, I can only surmise that the reason there's so many dislikes under this video, and like I said, I'm not ticked off about the dislikes. It's what the dislikes represent. It represents gross blindness. And turn your mind off and check into the cult of personality, Trump's our man-ness. That's what I'm pissed off about. I love this country. I love the people in this country. I want us to be safe. I want us to be prosperous. But the only way you can get to peace and prosperity and true safety is by holding fast to and being jealous about your freedoms, which Trump isn't. I like take the guns first, due process second. Thank you very much. Who gives a frick about the Second Amendment he's saying in that? Frick you, Second Amendment. If that was all that was wrong with Trump, but he only said it, he hasn't enacted anything, that's enough. That's enough. He's got no balls. He's being led by the balls, led by the nose by Israel. Israel controls us. Change my mind. Prove me wrong. You got a dishonest fiat currency note of debt. The only reason it's floating is because we had the Bretton Woods Agreement that was broken by Nixon. He closed the gold window on August 15th, 1971. Made the deal with the Saudis, and now we have a petrodollar reserve currency. The only thing that's keeping that afloat, 2 things. Well, 3 things. The petrodollar arrangement, petrodollar currency Ponzi scheme, the narco dollar, which the CIA has control over. That's why we're in Afghanistan, controlling the poppy field, that's where 90% of the opium. Oh, we have an opioid crisis. Really? Well, thank the CIA. Thank the U.S. government. Thank you, U.S. government. We have an opium problem. Yeah, now there's the Hegelian dialectic. I'll get to the other one in a second. Well, I'll get to the last one. And the military. It's all backed by the military. The only reason our dollar floats, the only reason you can take that worthless fiat currency note of freaking debt to the grocery store and buy food is because it's a petrodollar, it's petro-backed, it's narco-backed, and it's U.S. military-backed. If we didn't have that, man, there is no telling what kind of shape we'd be in. And it's all backed by the threat of force. And if you want to see what happens to people who get rid of the international banking currency system, like Saddam Hussein did, you're dead. Like Muammar Gaddafi did when he was trying to set up the gold-based dinar. Dead. You don't do that. You don't mess with the dollar. That's a big part of what 9/11 was all about. It had to lay cover and offer the pretext so that we could go into the Middle East and we got weapons of mass destruction. We're going to take care of Saddam. No. What you were taking care of is getting them back, getting them off the euro and back onto the dollar. Because he started selling his oil from his country in euros. Can't have that. Can't disrupt the petrodollar Ponzi scheme. Got to keep it all in order. And now because all the nations have to transfer their currency into the fiat currency note of debt, that keeps all those dollars from coming home and causing a hyperinflationary situation like we had like Germany had in the Weimar Republic in 1923. Bills became so kind of like Mugabe did in Zimbabwe. I have in my closet it's $100 trillion note. That's how bad the hyperinflation got in Zimbabwe. Same thing with the Weimar Republic. They're starting to put little kids were playing with dollar bills in the street and they were slapping them on the wall like wallpaper. They were worthless. taking barrels and barrels of money just to buy a slice of bread. It was more economical to burn cash than it was to burn wood. That's where we would be if we didn't have the petrodollar underpinning and the U.S. Military underpinning and the narco dollar underpinning. So until you deal with that situation, everything else is window dressing. It's WWE, Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant or the Ultimate Warrior, all fighting against each other in a battle royale, and it really looks good. Trump goes, Nancy Pelosi's losing her mind. Oh, Trump needs to be impeached. And everybody's all enthralled in it. And by the way, the enemy of your enemy is not your friend. Not necessarily. That's not logical. Oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And I'm talking about your enemy meaning mainstream media. Yes, mainstream media is your enemy. But the enemy of your enemy, which would be Trump, does not make Trump your friend because he's an enemy of the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is the enemy of him. Jeff Zucker is a Zionist just like Trump is a Zionist. They're in the same club, working for the same agenda, the same 2030, Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, take over the world agenda. They're all working together, guys. And they have to make the show look good. If it doesn't look good, if it doesn't look convincing, then there's no deception and the gig's up. They can't have the gig be up. They got to keep stringing you along, packing those coliseums. Yeah, there's a lot of people that follow Trump. And they're just as mired and cemented, and the cement is curing at a faster rate as the libtards are, whatever you want to call them. The left versus the right, the Democrats and the Republicans are two wings of the same bird of prey. They're two sides of the same coin. They're all working in concert together. It all works. This withdrawal from Syria, guys, if you're believing that, you are freaking believing a lie. Taking 30 to 50 troops out of Syria, give me a break. There is a long-term agenda, and the plans have been laid by Israel, Zionist specifically. I'm not talking about, this isn't a Jewish thing. I'm talking about, this is a Zionist thing. There are people who are Zionists who are not Jewish. So don't call me anti-Semitic. I have Jewish friends that are not Zionists. There are tons of people in Israel who are Jews that are not Zionists. When I talk about a Zionist, I'm talking about somebody who has an ideology that is and seeks to, it's the bottom line of statism. It seeks to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong so that they can fulfill their freaking agenda. And it's always evil. Always. So just the few things I listed, if you just picked one thing on Trump, I like take the guns first, due process second. Even Obama didn't say that. That's saying to the Second Amendment, frick you, Second Amendment. Look, and some people are saying, I thought you were an anarchist. What are you constantly talking about the Constitution for? Because within the Constitution, I'm not talking about all the Constitution. There's tons of stuff in the Constitution that is 100% antithetical to not only freedom, but there's tons of stuff in the Constitution that's antithetical to the Declaration of Independence. Namely, well, can you give us an example, Brian? Glad you asked. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. You want the translation on that? Congress shall have the power to extort the people against their will and without their consent. Nope, don't think so. That's trash. You can't say the Constitution is trash. That's our holy book. It's trash. If I don't have the right to go to my neighbor's house and take a portion of his income without his will and without his consent, then he doesn't have the right to do that to me, and no human has the right to do that to anybody else. I don't care if you call yourself a Congress. I don't care if you call yourself the Senate. I don't care if you call yourself the President of the United States or a law enforcer or a sheriff or whatever. You don't have the right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. And we've all learned it in first grade. Don't steal from others because you wouldn't want somebody to steal from you. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. Give me a break. No, they don't. Where'd they get that power from? How come I don't have that power? No, you gotta believe in magic in a young senator's eyes. What? Just because we say so. Because we say so. So back to Andrew Jackson. Get rid of the Federal Reserve, get rid of the IRS. If you're talking about anything else, you are talking about nothing. You're talking about fluffy pillows, marshmallows, and butterflies. It's all freaking window dressing. It's smoke screen. Watch the sleight of hand. And we buy into it, guys. I'm weak. I'm a man just like you. I'm weak just like you. If I get out of bed and I step on a attack, I'm going down. If I let my guard down for a second, I will be deceived by a politician. I'm no different than anybody else. We all got to stick together and just admit, hey, we're weak. We're weak. I have no idea why I'm not in the cult of personality right now. Maybe to an extent I'm in some cult. I don't know. We all have a journey. We have a journey to walk on, but I do know one thing. I have no right to rule you. No right. I've got no right to make a law and force you against your will to obey it if you haven't done anything wrong. I've got no right to come into your house or bump into you on the street and take your wallet out of your pocket and take 10% of $100 in your wallet. No right. And you don't have a right to do that to me. And if I don't have a right to do that to you, and you don't have a right to do that to me, then nobody's got a right to do that to each other. And I don't care what fine hat or fancy sounding term that's at the beginning of a word, or the plaque that you have in some marbled hall with some big oak door somewhere. It doesn't matter. That's all window dressing. Your Honor. What the hell? If I'm not your honor, you're not your honor. Your Honor. All rise for the judge. Your Honor. What? I'm not bowing down and licking the boots of a robed tyrant. Sorry, I'm not. Free men don't do that. I'm not asking beta male O'Rourke for permission, a permission slip. Can I please have a firearm, Beta? I know you want a federal license, and so here I paid $100 for my license, and then there was $90 for the fingerprints. No, sorry. That's all a license is. That's what registration is. It's somebody in government who thinks he has a higher claim over your life and property than you, taking your natural rights from you and saying, oh, you want them back? You want your rights back? That'll be $95.25. Even if it was 25 cents, he's got no right to take your right from you and sell it back to you. That's what it's the scam of licensing. It's a scam. You need a driver's license to drive a car. Why wouldn't you have to have a license to have a gun? You shouldn't have to have a driver's license to drive a car. This is my personal property. My property. And I shouldn't have to register it. And the only reason I do is because I don't want to go to jail. I don't want my car impounded and my property taken from me. It was already taken from me once. It cost me $240.44 because my registration lapsed. Well, that was your fault that you let it lapse. Yeah, that was my fault that I didn't want myself to be extorted. I'd forgotten about it and I would have paid it. I just don't want to go through I didn't want to go through the hassle of having my car impounded. I just forgot about it. It doesn't make it any less evil. It's evil. It's evil for Beto to come and say, hell yeah, we're going to take your private property. Hell yeah, we're going to take your AR-15. Hell yeah, we're going to take your AK-47. Hell no, you're not. Hell no, you're not. And that's the attitude we all got to have, man. We're not perfect. But if we all had to, hell no, you're not, there would be no beta male O'Rourke's of the world. There would be no Nancy Pelosi's of the world because we wouldn't legitimize their convoluted existence. They're truly mental cases. Speaker of the House, President of the United States, Majority Leader, Minority Leader, House Whip. What the hell? I left all that stuff when I was a kid. That's fantasy, sprinkle pixie dust, and just believe me garbage. So when I say this stuff about Trump, he is the same. He's on the same page and on the same team as Hillary. I know it's hard for people to believe, but let's just observe something, okay? Hillary is free not only to walk around, but to live in her mansions and to get $200, $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500 of speaking engagement. Trump promised to put her in jail. He's not going to put her in jail. Hillary Clinton's not going to see 1 day of jail. Why? Because Trump and her are on the same frickin' team. But Q tells us there are sealed indictments and things are going to go down. Guys, they're giving you breadcrumbs. Is it really that easy to deceive us? Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is. So excited about Trump. So excited about the 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 people. There are 50,000 people in the overflow. We must be right. We may make America great again. No. CPAC was make Israel great again. They were even selling hats, make Israel great again. They might as well have sold. They might as well just come out and say APAC. You know, it's CPAC, APAC. They're all on the same team. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Trump is for Israel. Hillary's for Israel. Schumer's for Israel. Jim Jordan's for Israel. They're all for Israel. How come they're all for Israel? How come they're all for Israel? Israel's our enemy, our mortal enemy. If you don't believe me, ask the survivors, the remaining survivors of the USS Liberty. If you don't know about the USS Liberty, look it up. Israel did us such a fine favor, and they're such a good friend that they bombed and bombed and bombed and bombed and bombed some more. The USS Liberty in 1967, killing 34 crew members and frying about another 171 where they were seriously injured. For hours and hours, knowing that was a United States vessel and just laying waste to it anyway. Our friends. Bibi Netanyahu says the Americans are just so easy to move. So easy to move. Oh my God, it's like taking candy from a baby. This is going to be good. Extending our reach, our Zionist reach. We want our fingers in everybody's pie. We control the currency system for the United States and really the world by default. This is so great. Israel owns our reserve currency, which means they own big, big portions of the world. Matter of fact, there would be no Zionism if it wasn't for Lord Rothschild's in the Balfour Declaration. Look at the Balfour Declaration. The reason there's a Zionist, the reason there are Zionists and Zionism is because of the Rothschilds. They are your enemies. The Zionists are the Rothschilds. They are the Rockefellers. They are the J.P. Morgans. That's who they are. They formed their club. And then they took us over, at least in 1913. Big arguments can be made 1873, 1876, 1867, pre-Civil War. They have these people in the palm of their hand and in the back of their pockets, guys. It's all an illusion. This Republican versus Democrat is the illusion of choice, and they have to give that to you because the masses have to be on board. You have to be either a Republican or a Democrat. If you're in either of those boats, they're fine with it. They're fine with it. As long as you keep playing the game, they'll keep moving the ball downfield. It's their ball. It's their field. It's their stadium. And you and I are tax cattle, and we're funding the entire shebang. I haven't even scratched the surface with Trump. Have not even scratched the surface, guys. But all you need is just one of those things. If you just have, I like take the guns first, due process second. If you just had red flag laws, if you just had civil asset forfeiture, if you just had $10.2 billion to Israel, $1 million to Israel every day, if you just had $60 million a day to NASA, if you just had the IRS, if you just had the Federal Reserve, and he doesn't do anything about it, then you got somebody who's not on your side. And I don't care if the Communist News Network and MSLSD and always broadcasting crap and all the corporate news media outlets are against Trump. That does not make Trump your friend. That makes the deception more deceptive. I can't read what you guys are saying. So give me a like, give me a dislike. I don't care. Well, yeah, I do care. I care because it reveals who's given the dislike and where they're at. And that's a whole lot of people. And that bothers me. It truly, truly bothers me. I'm going to start my car and it's all fogged up in here. Getting hard to breathe in here. Let me just, I know it's probably loud, but I just got to get this fog out of here. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. I mean, when I say this stuff, I mean, like, yeah, you can rip a quip off of your tongue, But if you haven't internalized it, it really does no good to you. It really doesn't do good. It almost condemns you because you're quoting it, it's on your lips, but it's not in your life. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And it's easy to not be eternally vigilant. In other words, 24/7, you need to be vigilant because somebody out there somewhere is planning to take your freedom and your wealth and your family's freedom and your wealth. And your wealth is your time and your laboring energies. It's you. It's the essence of who you are. That's why when you pull a dollar bill out of your pocket, it represents something. It represents your time and your laboring energies, the time you had to spend away from your family earning that so that you can put a roof over their head and food in their stomachs and clothing on their backs. It's like, what infuriates me is about the removal of freedom and people who plan the removal of freedom, and those people who are on the inner sanctum who are messing with us all. What really pisses me off about it is your love for you see your love for humanity, and you see that you just want men to be at peace and do good, and you see the antithesis of that, because if they're not in peace and doing good and prospering, and some third party is controlling them, then you start these horrendous wars. Why with the track record that all governments around the world have, are we still consenting to and condoning the pulling of the lever and the pushing of the button? Stalin said, it doesn't matter who the people vote for, they're a bunch of schmucks. Every vote is a vote for us. That's how every politician, I just imagine people who are in politics going, I can't believe I'm making $174,000 and I get to just like gallivant around the world and do some speaking and sit in some committees and some joint hearings and some sessions, and $174,000 a year plus perks. This is great. All made possible by you and me. Slave class, the tax cattle. So you look at all of humanity, you go, it could be you could be so much better. The technological advances we could have without government, maybe we wouldn't even be driving cars. Maybe we would be hovering everywhere. Maybe they're always talking about, we have a climate crisis. We need to heal the planet. We've only got 11 or 12 years left. Well, if you want to help the planet, all you got to do is one thing: get rid of government. They're the worst gross polluters, wasters, just spewing crap into the atmosphere. How much carbon? And how many people would have to release how much carbon to equal the carbon emitted by the detonation of just a regular bomb? Just regular military artillery, not a hydrogen bomb, not an atom bomb, but just a regular bomb. How much carbon is emitted when it's dropped from that C-130 or whatever it's dropped from? How many people's carbon footprint does that one bomb, the detonation of that one bomb, represent? And all the napalm that was just dropped on Vietnam, and 58,000 freaking soldiers dying, 1.5 million people, which they call collateral damage. Just the death and the destruction. And when you can see behind the mask, and you see what Trump is, and you see what Hillary is, and you see what Joe Biden and his son are, and Barack Obama, and you see what they've done. They've compromised. They've compromised us. They've compromised your family and my family and our health. You know, they drive. I forgot to tell you. Phone ringing. Just that's where I'm coming from, guys. I'm not perfect. I don't have this thing down, but one thing I know, and I think we all know, every one of us inherently knows this: you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be a mathematician. You don't have to have a high, status in life to understand. I thought that was a cop. To understand the golden rule. Do to others what you would want done to you. If anything violates that, if anyone has no problem violating that, they're your enemy. Period. Whether they violate it on a large scale or a small scale, it doesn't matter. They're your enemy. Period. So let me recap. Title 28, Section 3002, 15A. This is a federal corporation. Anybody who works for this federal corporation, i.e. politician, president, vice president, speaker of the House, senator, congressman, anybody who wants to work in that inner sanctum is working for the federal corporation, not for the people. I don't care what they say. I don't care how well they know the Constitution. I don't care how for gun rights you think they are. They are working for the federal corporation, and they are getting extortion money put into their pocket to work for the federal corporation, and they're okay with it because it comes out of your pocket and my pocket, which makes them your enemy. They're benefiting from the extortion racket, and anybody who benefits from that is your enemy. Every politician, every banker, every elitist, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. They're in there making money off of you. And while they're making money off of you, they're making rules. They're not penning laws. It's their rules. It's their commands. It's their edicts. There's no such thing as a man-made law. Men don't make laws. They're the opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. So not only are they extorting your money, they're using that extortion money to make more rules that makes you and I more enslaved to them and takes more of our wealth. So it makes us more shackled as far as our freedoms are concerned, and gets us deeper into debt. So people say, so what's your solution? What's your solution? The solution is to resist evil. To resist evil. Set brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, like Samuel Adams said. That's what life's all about. And when those brush fires of freedom, and I'm talking about real brush fires of freedom, not this fake stuff, not faux freedom. Setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. What if I had a brush fire of freedom inside me and you guys had a brush fire of freedom inside you, and we were able to somehow influence our culture for the good, and conspire to do kindness and goodness and not evil? It's time to check out of this system of, well, it's the lesser of two evils. At least I chose the lesser of two evils. At least, the bankers are still in control. You basically chose, what do you want? Curtain number 1, 2, or 3? We have 3. We have 22 examples up here. Do you want curtain number 1, 2, 3, or 22? Which one do you want? They're all selected by the bankers, and if they weren't, they soon will be on the inner sanctum. That person, they close that door to that president's seat, they're going to find out real quick what it's all about. You are going to do our will. You will do the will of Israel. You will spend the United States money. You will get the United States deeper into debt and deeper into slavery to us. Government is slavery. It comes from 2 words. Objectively, it comes from 2 Latin words, mentis and governo. Governo means to control or govern, and mentis means the mind. To control or govern the mind, mind control. Government is slavery. Any servant of government is your enemy. They're working for the Title 28, Section 3002, 15A federal corporation. And they're your enemy. Doesn't matter if that enemy's name is Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, or Donald Trump. They're your enemy. They're supposed to appear good. They're supposed to appear righteous. They're supposed to appear to provide you with safety and prosperity. But it ain't true. It's all illusion. All illusion. So that's my little spiel for tonight. I gotta get a hold of Trish. I didn't let her know that I'm going to be sitting here in this parking lot talking so long. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Hey, leave your thoughts about this. If I'm wrong, correct me. Truth fears no scrutiny. Truth never fears scrutiny because truth is truth. And if your agenda is truth, you don't care if somebody calls me a sheep. Somebody said on Twitter, you're just mad because I called you a sheep. You can call me whatever you want. But if you're going to call me a sheep, I'd really appreciate it. I'm not going to make you substantiate it. But it really would be nice. If I'm a sheep, I want to know what shepherd I'm following. If I'm following a shepherd that is an evil dude, I want to know about it because I want to stop following him and seek pastures elsewhere. So anyway, I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. If you see that I said something that's an error and inconsistent with the principles, the fundamental principles of individual liberty, hey, let me know. I'm all ears. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.